Spoilers, they fuck.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell.
And this is a podcast that is out of my control. Welcome.
It never was in your control.
No, truly it wasn't. All I did was read the books. You've been in charge the whole time. But now you're reading the books too.
And I hate it. Thank you. No, I don't. How are you, by the way?
Oh, I'm so very good. Thank you so much. I had a good day hanging out with my mother. I always enjoy hanging out with my mom. We may have inconvenienced you all day by being in the house because it snowed. We didn't realize it was going to snow 5 inches.
Yeah.
So we ended up being housebound instead of going out like we thought we were going to. So, yeah, but we had a great day. I mean, I feel like today was a pretty good day.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
No. It was a fine day. It just so happens that our daughter's favorite spot in the house is the room that is adjacent to my office.
Yeah.
With no, I mean, it's just an open area. But I was able to do what I had to do within the toddler babbling.
Mm-hmm.
So it was fine.
Mm-hmm.
No complaints.
Good.
Well, what I meant when I said was that I hated this was that I really, really prefer the standard arrangement of this podcast. Because if you haven't caught on yet, and if you haven't listened to any of the previous episodes yet, I am presenting a book to Katie this week. And it's not just a book, but it's a smutty book, and it is a baseball-themed smutty book because by the time you hear this episode, the Major League Baseball season will have started. It technically already has started with 2 games between the Padres and Dodgers in South Korea.
Yes.
So that has technically started already. But we thought it would be fun. Last year, you presented The Pitcher's Assistant by Jessica Kane. We were joined by my good friend and co-host of Put Me in Coach, my baseball podcast, Matt Coggins.
Yep.
But this year, we thought it'd be fun to flip the script because I discovered this book that we're reading. I don't even remember how. It might have been on TikTok, but the writer is an individual named Katie Casey, K.D. Casey.
Mm-hmm.
And in addition to publishing smut, they also are an actual writer for baseball publications like Baseball Prospectus, which is a very esteemed baseball publication that I subscribe to. I don't know what their real name is. I would love to find out because this book was fantastic, and it threaded a very excellent needle of having some magnificent baseball talk and baseball jargon, which I promise I won't
you're fine.
bog everything down with. But if I think of something, I think it's important to point it out, I will. But the smut was fantastic.
Yes, and this one was an MM, right?
This is an MM, a Killian
Yep.
romance. So be aware of that, I guess, if that's a thing you're... Yes, it is an Achillean romance,
Mm-hmm.
so, I hope you're down with that. I sure was. I had a great time reading it. It was, the smut was excellent, the baseball talk was excellent, and so why don't we just get into it?
I would love to. Yes, let's begin.
Go ahead. Oh, shit, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Fuck. This book is
Your responsibility.
today. Exactly. I don't even know how much it costs.
One True Outcome by K.D. Casey is available for $2.99 on Amazon or for free, or on Amazon Kindle or for free through Kindle Unlimited. Our content warnings for this book come right out of the book. Discussions of prior parental death due to cancer, off-page, and medical debt. On-page depictions of anxiety and chronic pain due to injury, including ableism. Casual drug use and drinking, power differential between characters, which is discussed and negotiated as part of the story, age gap, brief discussions of structural homophobia that do not involve slurs, and I'm going to add one because it is hinted at throughout the book, but is never clarified how significant it is, and there is a size difference.
Okay, sure.
But it's referenced that one of the characters is larger than the other, but it's never specified how much larger.
Right.
Our first MMC is Mack Mackenzie, goes by Mack. I will refer to him as Mack throughout the book. He is 36 years old. He is a first baseman currently playing for the Baltimore Oysters, a real Major League city, not a real Major League team. He is big, he is broad, he is burly. I believe they say he is 6 feet 5 inches tall at one point in the book. He has a chronically injured shoulder. He is a former MVP, but well past his prime now. I hate to tell a lot of the listeners, if you're not familiar with sports, 36 is old in sports terms. So really sorry to break that to you. At the outset of our book, the Oysters are playing in Boston. They don't say what the Boston team is named. And he gets summoned into his manager's office. He figures that he is just going to be put on the injured list again. But no, Mack has been designated for assignment. And if you're not familiar with what that means, it fucking sucks. Essentially, what it means is he's been cut. It's extremely convoluted, but the long and the short of it is he's no longer on the team. His manager tells him that the team will let him stay in the hotel room that he's in out of respect, which bothers Mack because he would just love to get drunk in his own home. But instead, he gives the guy at the front desk of the hotel $100 to bring him a 6-pack and a bottle. It just is a bottle. We don't know of what, from the hotel bar. And then when he brings it up, Mack tries very hard not to notice how well this young man's polo shirt fits and tapers to everything.
Okay.
And he gives him another $100 and decides to leave him on the other side of the door. His phone, understandably, starts ringing off the hook. His agent calls to give him hope that some other team might want to pick him up. A charity that he works with in Baltimore calls to express their appreciation for all the work he's done with them, and they're very relieved to hear that Mack would like to continue working with them if he'll have them, or if they'll have him, and they will. His mother calls to invite him down to Florida to help her win her retirement community shuffleboard tournament.
Well, that's where you got to go, Mack.
Yeah, well,
very important.
She hates shuffleboard but loves winning, so she wants to bring in a ringer. And I love shuffleboard. I don't know why anybody would have a problem with it. It's a magnificent game. He gets a push notification on his phone telling him that former league MVP Matt Mackenzie has been designated for assignment, prompting him to tell his phone, "I fucking know that already," before drifting off into a booze-induced sleep.
Nice.
He wakes up sometime in the middle of the night and proceeds to begin dry heaving into the toilet.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not so much the booze, as he puts it. It feels like it's less the booze and more like his body is just trying to reject the day's events, but it isn't worth crying over. But ever the pragmatist, he calls the front desk and asks for another box of Kleenex just in case.
Of crying. Just in case
just
so much crying.
He doesn't try to like macho it up and be like, "Man, I'm just jerking it so much."
No.
Bring two.
Yep. So much cum.
So much.
I lied. It's tears.
Crying. He spends the next day lazing in bed and watching various sports outlets cover the big news of the day, which is him. He eventually gets bored with this and opts for visual comfort food, dull comedies, action flicks, and rom-coms.
I'm just trying to imagine what it would be like to lay in bed watching all of the news channels talk about how you got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, how does that not feel like a parade of just kicks in the nutsack over and over?
Yeah, everybody. Here's ESPN. Wham!
Yep.
FS1. Wham!
Yep.
The MLB Network. Wham!
ESPN 8. The Ocho. Wham!
Exactly. Just before leaving the hotel, he grabs his second phone, which he uses only for social media, and posts a very heartfelt goodbye to the fans of Baltimore, thanking him for their many years of support. The next day, Mack is working on chartering a plane down to Florida when he gets a call from a number he does not recognize. And like a psychopath, he answers it. The caller is a woman named Myra, and she
wants to know how he feels about the upcoming presidential election because he answered his damn phone, and it was another fucking political survey.
Actually, no. His warranty on his car is almost expired.
Oh, my God. They've been trying to reach him on his car's extended warranty.
Thank God.
Oh,
my
we
God.
finally got through to you, Mack.
It expires in 10 minutes. The caller is a woman named Myra, and she is the president of the Miami Swordfish. Again, not a real team. There was a really nice moment there where she just introduces herself as Myra, and Mack thinks to himself, she doesn't say her last name, but she doesn't need to because there's literally only one Myra in all of baseball. Myra's calling to see if Mack would like to come to Florida to discuss a potential opportunity with the team. She tells him that she knows he's got a lot of interest from other teams right now, so he does not need to feel like he needs to answer immediately. He mutes the line to laugh because she's the only person who's called him. And then gets back on the line and lies and says, yeah, no, totally. Some interest. Yeah, lots of interest. He tells her to send the details to his agent, and they'll figure it out from there. He flies down to meet with the swordfish.
I was going to say, it's Myra from the Miami Not Marlins.
Exactly. Miami Marlins Myra. They pick him up in a town car with champagne in a hidden compartment. Nice touch.
Ooh, fancy.
And they run him through a variety of meetings with team staff. They take him into the clubhouse where they've already prepped a stall with a nameplate and a jersey.
Oh, they're selling it.
Just really trying to sell it. And they also bring along their catcher and our second MMC, Jamie DeLuca.
Okay.
Frequently just called DeLuca, but the name that gets used mostly for him is Jamie, so that's what we're going to go with. Jamie is 26 years old. He is your classic cerebral catcher. He went to Dartmouth. He gets more of a physical description than Mack gets. He is described as having olive skin and sandy brown hair. He is smaller than Mack, but it is not clear how much smaller. Mack notices Jamie noticing him, but Jamie doesn't just notice him. He's looking at him the way fans look at him, and that's because Jamie is a fan. He literally had Mack's poster on his wall as a kid.
Oh, my God.
This is a suspicion that is confirmed when one of their teammates, just referred to as Anderson, comes over and just blurts it out and then gives Jamie a noogie and walks away.
It's so cute. I don't know if that is necessarily a trope, but it is one of my favorite things that sometimes happens in age gap romances, like fucking your idol.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I love it. I love it when that happens. And I am glad that you mentioned it in the triggers that the power dynamic was going to be discussed in advance, because
yeah, there's a lot of it that goes on. For the interest of time, a lot of it is omitted from my notes.
Absolutely, yeah, sure.
But Anderson knows Mack. They played together in the World Baseball Classic, which was a nice little
touch. Who did
touch.
Mack play for?
I'm guessing America.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean that's.
Sure.
I would assume.
This is Mackenzie, so it could be Ireland if Ireland had a team.
That's true. Now you're absolutely right. There are a lot of players. When the World Baseball Classic rolls around, you're like, why is that guy playing for that team? Well, it's because his
grandma was actually from Mexico.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They do have rules about that, how that works. Anderson's ribbing of Jamie gives others in the clubhouse license to join in, while simultaneously using it as an excuse to meet Mack. Which kind of gives you an idea of Mack's status in Major League Baseball.
Oh, he's big deal.
Exactly. As players peel off to go train or get treatment, Jamie reveals that he's supposed to give Mack a tour. When Mack guesses that Jamie drew the short straw, Jamie blushes and gives it away that he was not so much voluntold as he volunteered.
Oh. So he's like a baby. He's a baby catcher?
He's a rookie. Yes,
yeah.
He is a rookie. The tour is filled with surreptitious glances, awkward exchanges. At one point, Jamie shows Mack the weight room, saying, "These are the weights." A statement that is accompanied by sort of a magician's ta-da flourish with his hands. That night, Mack watches the game from the owner's box, and unsurprisingly, he's focused on Jamie. But not because he's just squatting there all sexy like.
Nope, it's not because of the butt.
No, it's not at all. Mack is very impressed by the way that Jamie handles the pitching staff. He knows when to go out to the mound to settle the pitcher down. He knows, how to call the pitches. He doesn't let him shake him off. Like he's very impressed by the way he manages to do this, despite all of his self-deprecating that occurs throughout the book. Jamie's ability to call a game is evident to Mack, but like many a catcher before him, can't hit a lick. Traditionally, catchers are the sort of like on-field captains. They're the ones who are sort of making sure everything is going right. They're usually the smartest guy on the field. Not always on the team for their ability to hit.
Okay. Do they have to hit?
Oh, they have to hit.
Okay.
But if your catcher only hits like 240, with minimal power, like as long as they're competent, handle the pitching staff well, and call a good game.
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't matter if he can hit that great because he's a really good catcher.
Exactly.
Yeah, sure.
Some excellent baseball nuance here as Mack observes Jamie's struggle at the plate, noticing his pre-pitch bat position, the timing of his footfall. He's got this really weird leg kick. Really good details there. And then a team handler comes to tell Mack that Myra wants to see him. And despite the fact that the swordfish are floundering, there's something appealing about...
The swordfish are floundering?
Oh, thank you. Didn't even notice that. There is something appealing about the team that isn't Jamie, and it prompts Mack to sign with the team.
It's the paycheck.
It's the paycheck, probably. Well,
it's the fact they're asking him to play baseball.
It is frequently mentioned that Mack's career earnings are $200 million. So over the course of his career, which is at least a decade long, he has earned $200 million.
Okay, so it's not the paycheck.
No,
All right.
it's not the paycheck. Then we move on to the next chapter. Mack is moving into his condo and quickly realizes that he should have been a bit more specific to his decorator beyond open credit line.
Oh, no.
He refers to the decorator's aesthetic as more is more.
Oh, hyper-maximalism.
Exactly. Much to the delight of Jamie later in the book. Spoilers, they fuck.
Oh, no. You weren't supposed to tell me
I
that.
know, right? Mack rides the bench for the first game. He gives Jamie some insights on opposing players. Jamie's sitting there with an iPad trying to read through scouting reports, and Mack is saying, well, I know I played against this guy. He can't hit that. It's not on the scouting report. Well, I've played against him. I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Oh, and he tells another great little bit of insight here. Later on in the game, Mack tells Jamie... he tips Jamie off to the fact that the pitcher he's about to face tips his pitches, which is one of my favorite things to do, is to try and figure out if a pitcher is tipping their pitches. Very famously, one of the most famous ones was Randy Johnson, one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He had two pitches that he threw primarily, a fastball and a slider. And I can't remember which was which, but I think it was when he was about to throw a fastball, his glove was more closed.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was about to throw a slider, it was more open.
Mm-hmm.
He won over 300 games, struck out more batters than anybody in history except for one guy,
Mm-hmm.
And is in the Hall of Fame. That's how good he was. You knew he was going to throw you one of two things, and he still struck out over 4,000 batters.
Yep. He would tell you what he was going to throw. He would tell you what you were going to miss.
Exactly. Here's the pitch you're not going to hit. Some great tension building here,
Yes.
a brush of a knee as they're sitting there talking about the scouting report, and a hand brush while they're handing off the iPad. It's great stuff. Mack is at the railing of the dugout just watching Jamie with intensity, and Mack sees that he tips the slider. He sees Jamie smile. Jamie spits on it, just lets it go. That's what you say. He just spits on it. He just doesn't even make like he's going to swing at it.
Oh, okay.
And draws a walk. And so now Jamie's on first base, which means he's even closer to Mack, and that's when Mack is really starting to notice Jamie.
Yeah, but here's the thing, man. How is he supposed to help it? Because baseball pants.
Baseball pants.
And baseball butts.
Google Cal Raleigh big dumper.
Big dumper. Oh, man.
Their hitting coach noticed what Mack had done with Jamie there, and asks if he'd be willing to spend more time with Jamie. And because we know what show we're on, Mack accepts. The next day, Mack takes Jamie to the batting cages, and not in the cute way that Kevin Costner did with Susan Sarandon and Bull Durham. Like the actual cages, like professional cages in the bowels of the stadium. Jamie, this is where Jamie reveals that he prefers a very methodical approach. He says, give me three, I'm going to do some stuff, identify three things that I need to work on, and we'll start building a plan from there. And that's when he tells Mack that, I went to Dartmouth. And I'm very smart, and this is my process.
Yeah.
And Mack is really struggling because he's just sitting there, just staring at him. And he's not quite getting, it's trying to explain something to him. He's not quite getting it. So guess what?
Yes.
You gotta touch him. You gotta get behind him.
Absolutely.
You gotta put your dick on his butt and touch him.
Yes, you have to do the whole thing where you hold his elbows and you correct his hips in your stance. Yes.
Yep. There's some really great description of Mack, just really noticing some really fine details of his shoulders and his neck and just all that great stuff.
Is there one subtle moment where he kicks his legs just a little bit wider?
No.
Dip. Yeah, I guess it was too much to ask for.
They're still professionals, and depending on how he approaches, his approach at the plate, he might not want that wide of a stance.
Okay, fair.
Jamie proposes that they watch some film together, which is the baseball equivalent of Netflix and chill.
Oh. Would you like to watch a film?
Yeah. Mack agrees, but he's not quite sure exactly what it is that he is agreeing to. During the game the next day, Mack gets the nod to pinch hit and scorches a double into the gap. Back in the dugout, he looks at the scouting reports of Jamie, and they disagree on how to approach a particular hitter, and Mack does so almost intentionally just to see Jamie clench his jaw, which just makes him even cuter to Mack.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Make it a little square, baby boy.
Yep, exactly. And that is the exact moment that Mack realizes this might be a capital C crush. Oh. And he really hopes that Jamie feels the same way and is not just like a fan. They win that game, and the clubhouse is festive. Mack gives him a chance to, excuse himself, not say, hey, man, I want to go party with the guys and everything. But instead, Jamie says, no, let's do it, but let's go get some real Miami food to eat while they watch. So they settle on Cuban.
I was going to say, but that means they're getting Cuban food, which sounds delicious.
It does. They start watching video, and the tension is real. They are watching video of Mack from his heyday, and Mack keeps noticing that Jamie is looking at him when he thinks that Mack isn't looking at him.
Jamie is noticing Mack looking at him when Mack thinks he doesn't. What?
Mack keeps noticing that Jamie's looking at him.
Okay.
When Jamie thinks he's not looking at him. That's what I mean.
Oh.
Yeah, so he gets basically catching Jamie looking at him.
Oh, okay. Mack keeps... Okay.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I'm 100% guessing that Jamie is like just sitting there slowly boiling to death inside watching highlights that he for sure got an erection to before.
Oh, not just that.
Jacked off to?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to speculate too much, but...
Yeah.
Oh my God. The feelings that must exist inside that man right now.
Yeah. Oh, I remember this. This is that game against the Yankees in 2010. I jerked it to this so many times. Or not. I don't know. Any confusion about what the night is going to be is erased when Mack says that he doesn't really know how the night's supposed to be going, and Jamie expresses the same sentiment, calling the evening, quote, the world's most awkward movie date, close quote.
Aww.
And that is at this point that Jamie reveals that this is something that he has fantasized about for a very long time. And after a lot of very delicious will they, won't they, it is on. They passionately kiss, and according to Mack's inner monologue, Jamie kisses like he calls games and offers no further explanation on what the fuck that means.
It means that he is guiding the situation whether you want him to or not.
Well, not necessarily.
That's how I interpret it.
He's in control, but
yeah.
I would assume, but he didn't elaborate. That's fine. Mack is suddenly grateful that his decorator insisted on throw pillows because Jamie gets down on his knees on top of one of those throw pillows and proceeds to blow Mack.
Just one throw pillow? Jamie, you need two.
I don't know. Well, Jamie is used to being, squatting all the time.
Sure. He just needs the one because his other knee is out to the left.
Exactly. That's how they catch these days. It's really weird.
It is.
There is a slight pause in the action as Mack's shoulder flares up. Can relate. Jamie suggests that they turn Mack's highlights back on.
Okay, yes.
Revealing that he has on multiple occasions jerked off while watching these highlights.
Yes. This very much has watch Roy Kent cry while he eats you out energy.
Exactly,
it
does, yeah. Yeah. Mack comes and offers via a vague hand gesture to return the favor, but... Yeah, exactly. Just a very half-hearted jerk-off motion. And unsurprisingly, Jamie declines because, Jesus Christ, Mack, where's your enthusiasm?
Seriously. I don't want your half-hearted handy. Thank you so much.
Exactly.
Hello, Cleveland. We are half-hearted handy, though.
Jeez. They have a good old-fashioned Midwestern standoff before deciding to resume the film study. They're just sort of like, well, I could go. No, you should stay. No, I really got to get. No, you should stay. And then they decide to just keep watching the film. The next day, there is more tension, but not the good kind. Jamie barely acknowledges Mack.
Mm-hmm.
And during his workout, the hitting coach, who's just called Blaine, comes over and tells Mack, "Whatever you're doing with DeLuca, keep it going." At that point, Mack
Let him suck your dick more often,
right,
Mack.
exactly. Mack quietly shits his mind pants at that.
Shits his mind pants. What the fuck, man?
Mack goes looking for Jamie and finds him stashed away in an equipment closet reading the poetry of Pablo Neruda. There is
Reading The Wolf's Mate.
yeah, right. He's reading Bro and the Beast by Joseph Abernathy. Meta. No. There is some more tension as they try to sort out what's going on with them. They very quickly manage to overcome the tension and have a little makeout session in the equipment closet.
What's tension when you could suck face?
Exactly, right? And after that, they decide, let's get dinner tonight.
Sure.
Yeah, they grab some food and go to Jamie's place, but Jamie is just beat. He's wiped out, right? Because he's a rookie, he's a catcher. Like, it's the hardest position to play on the field.
Sure. He's working hard. I get it.
Yeah. And throughout this very brief chapter, we get a little bit of light backstory on Jamie. This is where the mention of the cancer comes in. His mother died of cancer when he was 7, and medical bills completely wiped out his dad. But a very kind neighbor was willing to pay for all of Jamie's travel ball fees. But she made him sign a contract. Like,
okay.
I will do this in exchange, but you must commit to do this, this, and this, and this. And now Jamie loves lists, loves contracts. Eventually, Mack has him sign one because it's a whole thing.
Okay.
The next day, Jamie wakes up and finds that Mack is gone without a note without a goodbye text. But then he spies a note on the nightstand from Mack telling him that he's gone out to get coffee, but it is signed Matt.
Aww.
Mack comes back with coffee, but he doesn't know exactly what he ordered because his Spanish is for shit. He mentions that he looked up Neruda while waiting in line, and he says that he didn't understand it, but it made him feel, quote, unnerved, but also horny, close quote.
Art is supposed to make you feel something.
Well, there you go. Jamie declares that he needs to start doing his scouting work for the game that night, but Mack opts to stay. Jamie says he usually does that in the living room, but Mack suggests that they do it in bed. Now, before you jump the gun there, his motives are pure because Jamie's couch sucks. And Mack offers to buy him a new one.
Oh, well, I guess if you got $200 million, you can buy your new buddy who sucked your dick a couch.
Right, exactly. It's the least I could do for you.
Yeah.
They have a quick makeout session, but then Jamie gets back to work. And then Jamie suggests that if Mack wants to shower, he should go home and do it first, or go home and do it before they go to the ballpark because his hot water is pretty temperamental. And Mack says, now that you're making the league minimum, you should just upgrade your apartment.
What is the league minimum?
Right now in Major League Baseball, $740,000 a year.
Okay, yeah. Upgrade your apartment, dude.
Jamie says that he is still helping his dad pay medical bills for his mom.
Oh, okay.
Mack insists that Jamie must let him buy that couch, calling it an enlightened self-interest for when I'm over here. Which Jamie's like, oh, a bit presumptuous, aren't we? And then for reasons left unsaid, they both end up being late to the ballpark.
Yeah, sure. Presumptuous.
The next chapter, it starts off with a lot of great coverage of how Mack and Jamie are just like in a groove. Every day they go to the ballpark. Afterwards, they get dinner. They watch film. They hang out. They're, for all intents and purposes, a couple.
Yeah.
A team PR flack comes into the clubhouse to see who wants to participate in the team's Pride Night later in the month. Jamie declines, but another teammate, Anderson, Womack opts in, prompting middle school level jeers from other players.
Boo.
The toll of a long season is clearly starting to wear on Jamie at this point, and that is exacerbated, again, by the fact that he is a catcher.
Mm-hmm.
It's, again, a brutal position. If Major League Baseball season is 162 games long, and if a catcher plays 120 games, that's a lot for a catcher.
Yeah.
Mack invites Jamie to dinner, and Jamie declines. Then he also declines an invite to join Mack at the beach for an upcoming off day. Mack decides to just sort of say, oh, okay.
No, you don't have to go to the beach.
Exactly. You don't have to do anything.
No.
Yeah. Jamie struggles through a game that takes place throughout the course of this chapter. He gets crossed up on a sign he put down a sign for a pitch that the pitcher did not. He got the signs wrong. Is what I'm saying. So he was expecting one pitch, pitcher threw another, and when these professional pitchers are, throwing like a slider with 14 inches of break, and you're putting your glove over here and the ball goes over there, that's a problem.
Right. So he just threw the wrong sign?
Yeah. Well, he put down the sign thinking it was one thing.
Okay.
And then the pitcher threw what it actually was.
Right. Yeah.
But Jamie thought it was a different thing.
Right.
He thought he was calling for a slider, but it was a sinker.
Okay.
I think is what it was. Anderson makes kind of a snide comment that, he implies that other guys on the team have more sway with Jamie for, implying something is up with Mack. This prompts Jamie to spiral into a full-blown panic attack in the tunnel between the dugout and the clubhouse. Mack sees this. He confronts him and tries to snap him out of it, leading to a bit of an argument between them. But eventually Jamie manages to get through it and finish the game. Afterwards, he's talking to the press, and Jamie takes the blame for the game getting away from the team. Anderson overhears it and thanks him, telling him, thanks for not throwing me under the bus, but there was plenty of blame, in that game to go around. But you know what? You're a good egg. Jamie offers Anderson a beer as an olive branch, and he declines, telling Jamie he doesn't do gluten.
Ah, sure.
Because he's a pitcher, and pitchers are notoriously the weirdest players.
Well, in that case, you just have to get a hard cider. They're gluten-free.
There you go.
Yummy.
There used to be a pitcher named Turk Wendell who, instead of tobacco, would stuff licorice, like nibs, in his mouth.
Yeah.
And then he would take them out between every inning and brush his teeth in the dugout.
Okay. Well, I guess he didn't want to rot his teeth.
Oh, there you go.
Sure. Was it red licorice or black licorice?
I believe it was red.
Okay. Acceptable then.
Yeah, I believe that was Turk Wendell. A week passes, and Jamie is almost late to the ballpark because he can't find his headphones. And when Jamie gets there, he's still looking for him, can't find him. Mack figures out what's going on. He reaches into his stall and grabs some money out of an envelope and asks a clubhouse attendant or a clubby to go get Jamie a new pair. And Jamie, bristles at this, cops an attitude.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I get it.
Okay. You were approaching the mic. I thought you had something to say.
Oh, I mean, I was thinking about saying why I would assume he would have a reaction like that, but I didn't want to start psychoanalyzing a character I don't understand.
No, that's fair. And when Jamie cops this attitude, it kind of draws the attention of the room. Mack tells Jamie he doesn't care what anybody thinks in the room, he doesn't care what anybody in the room thinks is going on.
Mm-hmm.
He can tell that the stress is getting to Jamie, and he forcefully sort of suggests he clean himself up a bit before anyone in the front office shows up. So he kind of shoves his shower caddy at him and tells him to go shower and shave because he looks like shit.
Okay.
And it's just clear that
okay,
everything is kind of weighing on him. After Jamie showers, shaves, and eats, Mack suggests dinner and film review at Jamie's place. Jamie starts to say some shit about his couch, but Mack sweetly shuts it down.
Oh.
Mack declines Jamie's offer to repay him for the headphones. And that night, Mack has a vintage Mackenzie performance, a solo home run, a double, and a bases-clearing triple that Mack insists was a double plus an error, but he knows better than to look a gift horse in the mouth like that. For those of you who are unfamiliar with that, every baseball game has an official scorer. So there's literally a person who decides whether or not a ball that was in play was a hit or an error.
So the official record shows it was better, or
it was yeah. So
or Mack is just self-deprecating.
So the scorer ruled it a triple. So
okay.
what probably happened was it was probably a double, but then the throw got away.
Okay.
Which allowed him to get from second to third.
Sure.
But maybe the scorer was being a little bit generous and just called it a triple.
Sure. Okay.
Which then makes his slugging percentage look better, which then makes his total bases look better, blah, blah, blah. So it's,
okay.
Sure.
All right.
That sort of thing.
So he's taking the win.
Exactly.
Yes, I get it.
Mack and Jamie have a cute moment in the dugout where Mack chest bumps Jamie and sends him sprawling into the to the bench. And then Jamie sort of plays it up and acts like he puts his hand on his head like he's fainting, and it's very nice. The press gaggle after the game. Mack is the star of the show, but then he's like, "But hey, how about this game that this guy called?" And drags him into the scrum, and it's fucking adorable. They're at Jamie's place that night after the game, and Mack comforts forgot the M. Jai.
Jai.
Comforts Jai and reminds him that he knows how difficult it can be to be a rookie in the league. You're learning your routine. You're figuring everything out. You're wondering whether or not you belong here. That sort of stuff.
Mentor shit.
Exactly, mentor shit. After much back and forth and hemming and hawing, Jamie agrees to let Mack help him financially in a very limited capacity. Then there's a very cute moment where Mack presents a couple of items to Jamie, but they're wrapped in just like newspaper because that's what his mom used to do for him because they didn't have any money. So anytime she was able to get him anything, she would wrap it so it would feel like a present.
Oh, okay.
And it's mostly self-care items like edibles.
Edibles.
Yeah.
Very important.
Exactly.
Super important.
Max steps out to go get some food, and of course at this point it's when Jamie discovers his headphones that he couldn't find earlier. They sit to eat, and Mac realizes that the food has gone cold while it's in transit. He gets up to reheat it, but apparently Jamie's into very large grizzled first baseman reheating takeout because the food never comes out of the microwave. Because we have sex break.
Yay. No, who needs takeout?
Yeah, some heavy petting and making out leads to Mac kissing all up on Jamie while Jamie masturbates himself or jerks himself off. Mac lends a hand, rim shot, but denies Jamie the pleasure of coming.
Oh.
He then sets out to fingering Jamie's ass before starting to fuck Jamie. And there's a very fun moment where like Mac gets up to go get a bag and gets out some lube, and Jamie starts giving him shit because like the rich guy has like this like fancy bottle of lube, but then Jamie's like, oh shit, like wow, the higher price point really is nice. Yeah. So Mac is fucking Jamie, and then in an effort to not strain Mac's back, Jamie suggests that he get on his back, and then he straddles Mac.
Absolutely.
And rides him to glory.
Yes. Fantastic. Save your shoulder.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. They contemplate afterwards in their post-nut clarity. They contemplate wow, that must be wow. I wonder what it's like. Because I am attracted to men, but I've never actually had sex with a man. But I wonder what it's like to have two dudes lying in bed with post-nut clarity together.
I was just thinking about how good Jamie would be at riding dick because he's a catcher.
Exactly.
So he's got great thighs.
Just jumping up and down on it. Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely.
We were thinking about very different things.
Yeah, sort of. I mean, they're kind of tangential. They're cousins.
Yeah.
They're cousin thoughts. In that joint PNC, they contemplate the possibility of the team catching on, but then they're like, Mac tells Jamie.
What, like it's against the rules?
Exactly. It's not against the rules. It's just, it's literally never happened in the history of the game that we know of.
Don't make me tap the sign. There's just a big sign in the clubhouse that says no fucking.
Yeah. Well, there are signs in the clubhouse that do come up later in the book because they're the like clubhouse rules. Basically, it's sort of like the workplace policy that the signs get referenced whenever there's some mild homophobia going on. At this point, Mac tells Jamie he almost didn't sign with Miami, but they're both very glad that he did.
Aww.
The next day, Jamie gets called into the manager's office. The manager's name is Higgins. And Higgins asks Jamie if
Is it Henry Higgins?
It's not Henry Higgins.
Oh.
Higgins, I can't, I'm going to picture it as him now. Higgins asks Jamie if he'd be willing to give first base a try because Mac is going to be unavailable for a few days.
And Jamie says, no, thank you. I am in a relationship.
Wait, first base? Nah, that's fine.
We didn't make it official.
Yeah. Wait, what do you think second base is? 1, 2, 3. Over the pants hand stuff. Jamie assumes that this means that Mac is going to be getting benched and starts to panic on Mac's behalf.
Aww.
When Jamie sees Mac after that meeting, he doesn't say anything to Mac about it before he heads home. They go home separately that day.
Okay. But
he can't stop thinking about it. So he calls Mac that night and is like, if somebody called you into an office and did this, like if you were going to lose your job, would you want to know? And Mac's just like, fucking just say it. Jamie tells Mac what Higgins asked him and what he assumes that it means. And Mac immediately assumes the worst and starts to think that tomorrow he's getting DFA'd again.
Aww.
Jamie asks to come over, and Mack is like, well, I guess we're in the neighborhood. And he comes over. And then they have a very lovely conversation about what retirement will look like for Mack, and they discuss the possibility of that future having Jamie in it. The next day, Jamie wakes up to find that Mack has gotten out of bed before him, but he can hear Mack on the phone in the other room. Mack comes back and says that it was his agent who told him, don't do anything rash in regards to the swordfish. Don't try to shove the stadium into the ocean or anything. And then that's actually a thing he says. Speaking of the swordfish, they call right then. Mack takes the call in the other room, and when he comes back, Jamie notices the seemingly despondent look on his face and moves to comfort him, telling him that no matter what happens, they'll figure it out. But it's actually good news because Mack reveals that instead of being cut, he has been chosen as the team's representative for that year's All-Star game.
Oh my God, Mack!
That's right.
That's so great.
He's been having a fine season. Now, when the Major League Baseball All-Star game takes place, every team has at least one representative.
Sure.
Usually your teams like the Tigers, the Oakland A's, the Washington Nationals, your lesser teams only get that one. So chances are Mack is
the guy.
The guy. Exactly. Mack confesses that before they could even tell him that, he just laid into him, telling him, fuck you guys, you signed me just to cut me. This is bullshit. Why are you wasting my time?
Oh, no.
And they respond by telling him that he is on speakerphone with the entire front office staff.
Awkward. Oh, no, Matt. Don't do that.
That's
Think before you speak.
You still want to go?
Can I still go after?
Can I still be an all-star? So Mack is off to Phoenix for the All-Star game, and there's some nice moments where he reconnects with some old teammates who tell him, look, man, it was really shitty the way Baltimore did you there. And then later that day, we get to meet Mama Mackenzie.
Oh, my God, yes!
A.K.A. Lorraine. And she immediately notices that Mack seems much happier than he usually is, and that's when he reveals his relationship with Jamie to her, which she unsurprisingly approves of because, much like every other mother in the books that we read here, she is a benevolent mother of smut.
Yes. She's one of our what do we call it? The venerated mothers of smut.
Oh, venerated. That's
Yes.
what it was. I thought it was benevolent.
Yes.
Venerated mothers of smut. Thank you.
I love it. No matter where you go with smut, you can always tell when somebody's trying to do right by their mama in a book.
Yeah. Fun peek behind the curtain here. My left shoulder is barking from sitting just like in this little chair like this. So I can relate. After the All-Star game, Mack FaceTimes Jamie, and they have a very cute chat, which includes Mack blurting out that Jamie should move in with him. They put a pin in that one.
You should move in with me.
Right?
Also, I like tacos. Like,
Exactly.
How did that go?
Yeah. Read the book.
No, that's what you did.
Yeah, but I am giving you a very, very broad overview of this book.
That's what I do every week.
The next day, Mack starts packing up, getting ready to go back home to Florida, and decides to pick up his social media phone, which he rarely does. Instead of a complete deluge of negative shit, and he does see some negative stuff, he is pleasantly surprised to see an outpouring of Baltimore fans congratulating him for all of his success in Miami. And Mack finds himself very suddenly appreciative of the very nice Kleenex in the very expensive hotel.
Yes.
Because he's just jerking off at all the nice things people
exactly.
say. Again, just not crying.
Again, can you bring more tissues for cum, not tears?
Yeah, totally. I come so much.
Mr. Mackenzie's coming back. Just put like 5 boxes in the room. I don't care if it's for cum or tears, Trisha. Just get 5 boxes in the room.
I'd rather not know. Time passes, and it's August now, so a couple of weeks. Usually the All-Star game is mid-July, usually the second week of July. And Mack's shoulder is just getting worse, so Jamie attends to him. Mm-hmm. Naturally, Mack struggles with being cared for, but he acquiesces and lets Jamie take care of him. And during that, Mack expresses some fear of retirement because, like a lot of professional athletes say in their retirement, they have no idea who they are outside of that game.
Sure.
Which has got to be very difficult.
I mean, yeah, I have to imagine, because in addition to playing the game being your career, you also represent it outside of the game usually, because you always have sponsorships. You're doing shit. It's like you are baseball all the time.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you're not. Yeah. I can imagine that's hard.
And people don't look at you as anything other than a dumb jock or that sort of thing.
Yeah. And you're only 36 or 37. You have to have a whole second career Exactly.
Mack and Jamie discuss what a Mack retirement would look like, and Mack wants Jamie to be a part of that. They discuss the possibility of revealing their relationship to some teammates during the upcoming offseason, and they pause that conversation because Mack is a bit loopy on painkillers.
Sure.
But not too loopy to catch a blowjob from Jamie.
You don't need to think straight to get a blowjob.
No, you don't. But
it's actually better if you aren't thinking straight.
Yes, exactly. But Jamie institutes a very devious caveat during this particular blowjob, and that is that Mack can only ask him to speed up twice.
Ooh.
Yeah. It must have been a great blowjob, because afterwards they both agreed that Jamie should definitely move in.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And we're kind of, the next couple of chapters, we're kind of cruising into to the end of the book here. The last few chapters chronicle the last 15 games of the season for the Swordfish. With 15 games to go, Mack just decides, you know what, I'm going to tough it out. I'm going to play through the pain. Mack openly invites Jamie over for film study in the clubhouse, doesn't really care who hears it. And then at some point he says, hey, Jamie, Mama Mack wants to meet you.
Oh,
yeah.
You can go meet his mom. Yes.
Yes. So that chapter that we just covered, that chapter covered games 15 through 12. There's, it's the end of the season. It's the dog days of late August, early September. Games 11 through 9, we see some homophobia rear its head in the clubhouse. The pitcher Anderson offers another pitcher, Miller, a gluten-free beer, which he unsubtly implies is only consumed by,
F words or Q words.
Exactly. He was the one who was leading the middle school level jeers earlier.
Of course.
And tensions flare, but it ultimately doesn't go anywhere. Anderson, towards the end of this chapter, Anderson reveals to Jamie that he can tell what's going on with Mack and Jamie. He was talking to him about what Miller said, and he's like, I don't care why it upset you. It upset you, and Jamie says it upset me for the reasons that you probably think it upset me. And Anderson kind of lets in, subtly that he knows what's going on.
Yeah, I can tell that my friend has been plowing you.
Yeah, exactly. And
you guys seem happy.
He tells them that neither one of them should consider a career in espionage. 5 games to go. The team has been officially eliminated from playoff contention, which sort of lifts a weight from the team, and everybody just starts playing better. Good. We're not so worried about the stress. Let's just go out there and have fun and play the game for the reasons we grew up loving the game, right? That night, Mack's shoulder's just not having it, and Jamie very firmly says, "You're sitting." Jamie confronts Miller about his homophobia and puts him in his place.
Good.
And it works. That night, Miller gets called in to pitch in the 8th inning and has the audacity. And I'm going to say something to you. And I think you know enough about baseball to know that when Miller shakes Jamie off twice, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I do understand baseball enough to know that is disrespectful.
Don't shake off your catcher.
Once, maybe twice in a row?
Yeah.
Miller.
You bitch. Jamie goes out to the mound to be like, the fuck? Miller insists that the guy at the plate just crushes sinkers. Jamie's calling for a sinker. He won't throw the sinker. Jamie says, fine, I'll call what you want. He puts down the sign for a slider. Miller throws the slider, hits a weak line drive right to the first baseman. All right. Okay. Next pitch. Jamie calls for the sinker. He just sort of grits his teeth, nods his head, throws the sinker. Let's see. Next chapter, really just kind of cruising through there. Not really much.
But did he hit the sinker?
It didn't say. Didn't say.
Casey, how could you?
It didn't say. KD
Casey,
right?
Casey,
yeah. Casey, yeah. Yeah, we're both right. Higgins, the next day, Higgins, the manager, tasks Jamie with giving him a little bit of feedback on a few relievers. And Jamie's like, what do you need me to do that for? And he's like, I'm not asking you to narc on anybody. It's just that you know more about this stuff than our analytics department does.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So, all right, they're starting to appreciate Jamie. Because throughout the book, there's a lot of discussion between Mack and Jamie about how Mack sees that the team doesn't really appreciate Jamie and what kind of player he could be.
Sure.
So it was, an acknowledgement of that. That night, they played their last home game of the year, and Jamie thinks, hey, Mack, is your uniform a little snug? A little tighter? No? Just
Are you pregnant?
No? No? And during the introductions that night, the PA announcer introduces literally every player. Jamie comments mentally, like he notices that, wow, they're introducing even the bullpen. Like, this is really weird. But then they introduce the last guy and realizes there's Mack still in the dugout.
Yeah.
They haven't mentioned Mack. And Jamie starts to feel real shitty. But it is a very misplaced worry when the stadium gets quiet and then a video tribute to Mack starts playing on the screen.
That's so sweet.
Full of highlights and throughout his career and press conferences. And
then he needs 5 boxes of tissues for cum, not
so much
for
cum.
tears.
Just totally just coming in the dugout. Cameras are just like spinning off their stands. Cut away! Quick, somebody just tackle Mack. Get in there, stop him.
No, but for real, though, that is very beautiful. It's so sweet.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the next day is a doozy because it's finally time for Jamie to meet Lorraine. And Jamie comments that he's queer enough that brunch doesn't scare him anymore, but he hasn't had to meet a parent since college. And it's all very cute. Lorraine calls Jamie cute and portable. It's totally adorable. I don't know. Again, I don't know how small he is, but Lorraine calls him cute and portable. And the next day, we have the last game of the year. In the middle of the clubhouse before the game, the manager Higgins gives, a nice speech where he says, there are a lot of traditions in baseball. Some of them I subscribe to, some I don't. But one I always subscribe to is that I think that the last game of the year should have a player manager. So any problems you have with today's lineup, take it up with Mack.
Mm-hmm.
Mack stands up, starts calling out the lineup, and says, Jamie, you're hitting second. Jamie has been hitting lower in the lineup, although recently has been hitting fourth, which is traditionally considered the cleanup hitter.
Okay.
Historically, that's where the team's power hitter is, because if you get one of the first 3 batters gets on, that guarantees in the first inning or your first at bat, he's going to get up. Although modern statistics have shown that you want to put your best hitter in the second spot because they'll get the most at bats.
Oh.
Jamie's like, what the fuck, man? I've been hitting second. He's like, oh no, we're gonna platoon you. You're gonna play the first 4 innings, and then this guy's gonna play, and that way the young minor leaguer will have a couple innings to kind of let his nerves settle, see you do it, that sort of thing. And then Mack reveals that, or implies that this, maybe I'll ask you your thoughts on it before the next time I fill out a lineup card.
Oh.
So kind of tipping off what Mack might be thinking about in his future.
Sure.
And it's at this point that he reveals that he has been in discussions with Myra about his future with the team.
Uh-huh.
And they just have a nice little moment, and they get ready to head out onto the field. And that's where the book officially ends. But of course, there is an epilogue.
There has to be.
There's an epilogue, and it consists of Mack's retirement press conference. He is officially retired from playing professional baseball, but has accepted a role with the player development staff of the Miami Swordfish.
Fantastic.
So he'll be sticking around. And then there is a very lovely scene during one of the many conversations about Mack's retirement. They have a map, and they start circling places. Here's some beat. Here's a place you could buy a place. Da 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 da. And when they move in together, Jamie presents it to him as a gift, a framed gift of the map where they were going to circle the places that they were going to potentially be together when Mack retired.
Aww.
And that is...
That's adorable. I love it.
One True Outcome by K.D. Casey, which the title of the book itself is a nod to a baseball phrase.
Right, I remember you saying that.
Yes, there's a phrase in baseball. It's the 3 true outcomes, which is the 3 things that can happen that involve only the pitcher and the hitter, which is a walk, a strikeout, or a home run.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Schwarber is often called Mr. 3 True Outcomes because he's going to do one of those 3 things. He's going to walk, strike out, or he's going to hit a home run.
Schwarber.
I think he had the most bizarre stat line last year. He hit under 200 but had like 46 home runs. It was fucking insane. It was so crazy. But yeah, that was...
None of those words mean much, but...
I know. That was One True Outcome by KD Casey, and I loved it. It was sexy. It was smutty. The baseball talk was like... When the smut wasn't there, the baseball talk was making me want to get to the smut.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it was magnificent. And if you are into if you're into Achillean, if you like sports romances, anything like that, I will put my stamp of approval on this. It is the first full smut novel that I have consumed. Did, of course, do Bisexual Mothman, or
Bisexual Mothman, Mailman makes a special delivery in our butts. Yeah.
And I started Inked.
Yes.
But I have not finished Inked. So I'm very happy that I got to present this to you. And if you're listening, I hope you're still listening, because I was so nervous about how to do this, because this is very hard to do. I don't know how you do this every week. This is extremely difficult.
It is hard. But you did a good job, and I really liked that story. It was very sweet. It was hard. This is hard for me to do. Listening.
Yeah.
Actively listening.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I don't like to listen to you, but because I have ADHD out the ass. And my brain's like, let's think about something else now. No, bitch, focus. He's telling you a story. You're supposed to respond to that story.
And that's why I was like, just staring at you intently. Like, are you with me? Are you with me? Are you with me? Oh,
yes.
You're getting close to the mic?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep. Are you going to say something?
Are you going to say something?
Yep.
It's hard.
It's very hard. It is.
It's hard to stay into it. But what are you into?
Oh, fuck. I think you know what I'm into, my love.
I do.
Yes. I'm into writing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I sat down this week or last week, sometime recently, and I started writing my very first attempt at a smut book. And I am doing what I'm calling it a pantsing experiment. I have not done jack shit to research this book or prepare for it at all. I had the opening premise came to me, and I sat down and I started writing it, and from there I've just kept going, and it just tells me what's going to happen next. And it's crazy because I kind of used to think that authors were like sort of fucking with me when they were like, oh, like they just do whatever they want. No, I get it now. I do. I've written 4 scenes and I already understand what you mean by they just do whatever they want. But I am having a fantastic time doing it. It's so much fun. I get like, a few hundred words a day because I've got a toddler to hang out with all day long, but it's really, really enjoyable. And I've had some extra time to do it this week because you read the book. So I had some time to do other stuff. It was great.
Yeah, exactly. It worked out really well. And you've already completed a chapter.
I have a chapter, and it was supposed to be 2 chapters today, but I think if you watched my TikTok from earlier today, the bitch won't leave her house. I can't get her to move forward. She keeps thinking of other things that she needs to do before she gets out of her own damn house. So
I'm sure there's nothing psychologically interesting about that.
No, not at all.
Not even a little.
No, but anyway, what are you into, my love?
Obviously, in keeping with the theme of the episode, I am into MLB The Show 24.
Baseball shit. Yep.
More baseball shit.
But video game baseball shit this time.
Video game baseball shit, that's right. The preeminent baseball video game on the market, San Diego Studios MLB The Show 24. I have been an avid player of this game for just under a decade now, and I buy it every year.
Yep.
Because you got to. I mean, they make any really like big gameplay changes? No. Do they make really any big upgrades? No. I just like having the newest players and the newest cards to collect, and I like to play the Diamond Dynasty thing where I create my own teams with past and present players and play against people online. And
it's nice to see the new menu aesthetic on the screen.
Nobody will shut up about the menu aesthetic.
Yeah.
Everybody hates it.
I love it. I think it looks great.
It is so bright.
It is very bright pink, but that's why I like it.
It's white and pink.
Yes.
And vibrant. I don't mind it, but everybody in the subreddit's like, oh, my eyes. And I'm like, well, if you ever left the house and got sun.
True.
But no, you're sitting there trying to complete the live series collection in the first week. It came out early access for pre-orders last week. It is available now. It's on the Switch. It's on the PlayStation. It's on Xbox. If you or anybody in your life is even mildly curious about the game and they have an Xbox, it is available on Game Pass. If you don't know what that is, but you do know that your significant other has an Xbox, just say, this baseball game's on Game Pass. And whether or not they understand that, they probably will.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it to death. It's my favorite thing. I did buy Hi-Fi Rush today, and I am going to play that tonight.
Yes.
Because that looks phenomenal, and I am playing other games. But the next year is going to be pretty much... I put over 500 hours into MLB The Show 23, and that was with taking a couple months off.
Mm-hmm.
So that is what I'm into. And also, side note, I'm also into euchre. I wanted to tell everybody I was playing euchre. I tried to teach you how to play euchre. I will continue to teach you how to play euchre. If you're not from the Midwest, go learn how to play euchre. It is the best card game ever. Now, with all that out of the way, what are you, not me, reading?
Yes.
What are you mercifully, blessedly reading next week?
What am I reading next week? Well, do you know what next Sunday is?
Oh, that's right. Now, I do.
If you are of the Western world or understand the Judeo-Christian calendar, it is Easter next Sunday, and I am reading Railed by the Easter Bunny by Dahlia Davies.
Not hiding anything.
No, I have been holding on to this book in the calendar for like 9 months, waiting to tell you this story, and I am so fucking psyched. Railed by the Easter Bunny.
Hey, babe. That's going to be a fun one. But in the meantime, you can find us on social media. We are on Instagram and TikTok at Cheap Smut. If you would like to send us an email, please do. cheapsmutpod@gmail.com. In the show notes, you might see a link to our link tree. If you click on that, the link at the top will be a link to this book. It is not an affiliate link. We do not get any money from it. We are just trying to support the author. If you would like to support us financially, you can do so on Patreon like these fine folks have done. Stephanie Hawkins, Gemma, Lady Squishy Buns, Tia Esk, Rob Gatika, Angela McNichols, Katie Hurd, Gwendolyn Harper, Seneca O, and Rebecca K. The music that you hear in this and every episode is called Nostalgia by Mackay Beats. You can find it along with thousands of other songs free of charge for you to use at the Free Music Archive, freemusicarchive.org. I am frazzled.
Yeah.
Let's put this thing to bed.
Absolutely. Listener, if there is a book in you, write it. And if there's fucking in it, I'll read it.
And then she'll come on this show and explain it to me for your entertainment.
Now, Carl needs to rest his brain. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.